the dangerous mistake hiding in your leftovers tonight. You open your refrigerator and see yesterday's dinner waiting for you. A few pieces of fried chicken, some grilled meat, crispy bacon from breakfast, and a container filled with roasted potatoes. You place the food in a frying pan. Turn the heat as high as possible and wait until everything becomes hot, crispy, and dark again. It seems harmless, but something may be happening inside that food that you cannot see, smell, or taste. When certain foods are repeatedly exposed to extreme temperatures, their fats, proteins, and natural sugars can undergo chemical changes. Some of these changes may create compounds associated with oxidative stress, inflammation, DNA damage, and potentially an increased risk of disease over time. But before you panic and throw every leftover meal into the trash, listen carefully. Reheating food does not automatically make it carcinogenic. Properly stored leftovers can usually be reheated safely. The real danger depends on 4 things: how the food was originally cooked, how long it remained outside the refrigerator, how many times it has been heated, and whether you are warming it gently or burning it all over again. In this video, you will discover for foods you should never reheat the wrong way. The first may expose you to damaged fats and reactive compounds. The second is already classified as carcinogenic when consumed regularly. The third can produce chemicals capable of interacting with your DNA. And the fourth is probably sitting in your kitchen right now. Stay until the end, because I will also reveal the safest method for reheating almost any leftover without turning a convenient meal into an unnecessary health risk. And food number 4 may completely change the way you use your toaster, oven, and air fryer. 2. Food number 1, deep-fried foods cooked in reused oil. The first category includes French fries, fried chicken, onion rings, donuts, breaded fish, and any other food that has already been submerged in very hot oil. The greatest concern is not simply reheating the food. The greatest concern is reheating it in oil that has already been used multiple times. Picture what happens inside a deep fryer. The oil is exposed to extreme heat, oxygen, water released from food, crumbs, salt, and burned particles. As this continues, the oil's chemical structure slowly begins to deteriorate. Fat molecules become oxidized, protective antioxidants are depleted, and reactive breakdown products, including certain aldehydes and other oxidation compounds, can begin to accumulate. The oil may become darker, thicker, sticky, foamy, or produce an unpleasant smell. But chemical degradation may begin before the changes become obvious. When these damaged fats enter the body, The liver must process them. The body's antioxidant systems then work to control the unstable molecules generated during oxidation. Occasional exposure does not mean someone will develop cancer. Cancer is a complex disease that usually develops through multiple genetic, environmental, metabolic, and lifestyle factors. However, repeatedly consuming food fried in degraded oil may contribute to an internal environment of oxidative stress and chronic inflammation. Two conditions researchers continue to investigate in connection with cardiovascular disease, metabolic dysfunction, cellular damage, and cancer development. This is especially relevant in restaurants or homes where the same frying oil is heated, cooled, stored, and reheated over and over again. So, what should you do with leftover fried food? Do not place it back into a pan filled with previously used frying oil. Instead, warm only the amount you plan to eat. Use an oven or air fryer at a moderate temperature and stop when the food is heated and lightly crisp, not dark brown or burned. An even better option is to remove some of the breading and serve the protein with vegetables, beans, or a fresh salad. And if cooking oil has smoked heavily, developed foam, become unusually dark, or smells rancid, do not continue using it. That oil is no longer behaving like the fresh oil that originally came from the bottle. It has been transformed by heat. Food number 2, bacon sausages, hot dogs. Another processed meats. The second food category is more serious because the concern does not begin with reheating. It begins with the food itself. Processed meats include bacon, sausage, ham, salami, pepperoni, hot dogs, and many deli meats. These products are often preserved through salting, curing, smoking, fermentation, or the addition of chemical preservatives. The International Agency for Research on Cancer has classified processed meat as carcinogenic to humans based primarily on evidence connecting regular consumption with colorectal cancer. This classification does not mean that eating one piece of bacon is as dangerous as smoking a cigarette. It means scientists have sufficient evidence that processed meat can cause cancer under real-world exposure conditions. The amount and frequency still matter. Now imagine cooking bacon until it is crispy in the morning, refrigerating it, and then placing it in a hot frying pan later that evening until the edges become black. You have taken a processed food and exposed it to another round of intense heat. Curing and processing can contribute to the formation of substances such as unnitroso compounds. High-temperature cooking may also generate heterocyclic amines and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. These names sound complicated, but the central message is simple. Processing creates one layer of concern. Extreme heat and burning may add another. crispy black edges that many people enjoy are not evidence that the food has become more nutritious. They are evidence that the foods, proteins, fats, and other components have been heavily altered by heat. The safest strategy is not to search for a perfect method that makes processed meat healthy. The safest strategy is to eat it less frequently. When you do consume processed meat, avoid burning it or reheating it repeatedly. Warm it gently over low heat in a covered pan, or for a short time in the microwave. Stop when it is hot rather than waiting until it becomes hard, black, and smoky. Keep the portion modest and build the rest of the meal around fiber-rich foods such as vegetables, lentils, beans, whole grains, or fruit. These foods do not magically cancel the risks of processed meat, but they help create a dietary pattern that better supports the gut microbiome, cardiovascular system, blood sugar control, and long-term health. The pattern you repeat every week matters much more than one isolated meal. Food number 3, grilled or charred meat. Now we come to steak. Hamburgers, pork, fish, and chicken that have already been grilled, barbecued, or pan-fried at a very high temperature. When meat is cooked over intense heat, especially above an open flame or directly against a very hot metal surface, two important groups of chemicals may form. The first group is called heterocyclic amines, or HCAs, can form when amino acids, natural sugars, and creatine inside muscle meat react at high temperatures. The second group is called polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, or PAHs. These may form when fat and juices drip onto hot coals or flames. The resulting smoke rises and deposits paws onto the surface of the meat. The darker and more charred the meat becomes, the greater the concern may be. Now imagine taking a steak that was already heavily grilled yesterday and placing it back over a flame today. The meat loses more moisture. The outside becomes darker, and the already cooked surface receives another concentrated dose of high heat. Laboratory research has shown that HCAs in POS can cause changes in DNA after they are metabolized by enzymes inside the body. Animal studies have linked high doses of these compounds with cancer. Human evidence is more complicated and has not established that one grilled meal causes cancer. But this is not a reason to ignore the chemistry. It is a reason to reduce unnecessary exposure. Do not reheat grilled meat by burning it a second time. Place the meat in a covered pan with a small amount of water, broth, or sauce. Use low to medium heat. Allow the steam to warm the center. You may also use a microwave at a lower power setting, pausing to rotate the meat so it heats evenly. If you want a grilled texture, warm the meat gently first and finish it very briefly in the pan. Instead of leaving it over intense heat for several minutes, remove heavily charred portions rather than eating every blackened edge. And when grilling fresh meat, avoid direct flames. Turn the food frequently and do not allow dripping fat to create clouds of smoke. The goal is not raw or undercooked meat. Meat must still reach a safe internal temperature. The goal is fully cooked without becoming burned. There is a major difference between properly cooked and repeatedly scorched. Food number 4, potatoes, bread, and starchy foods reheated until dark. Food number 4 surprises many people because it contains no processed meat and may contain very little fat. It includes potatoes, French fries, hash browns, bread, toast, crackers, breaded foods, and other carbohydrate-rich products. When certain starchy foods are fried, roasted, baked, or toasted at high temperatures, a chemical called acrylamide can form. Acrylamide develops through a reaction involving natural sugars and an amino acid called This is part of the same browning process that creates the attractive color, aroma, and flavor people enjoy in toasted bread and roasted potato. But color matters. A lightly golden potato is different from a potato that has become very dark brown. A lightly toasted slice of bread is different from one with blackened edges. The longer and hotter these foods are cooked, the more acrylamide may accumulate, especially in the darkest areas. High levels of acrylamide have caused cancer in laboratory animals. However, those experimental doses were much higher than the amounts people normally consume through food, and the exact human cancer risk from dietary acrylamide remains uncertain. That uncertainty should prevent fear, but it should not prevent common sense. You do not need to burn food to enjoy it. A major mistake occurs when someone takes potatoes that were already fried or roasted, coats them with more oil, and heats them until they become darker than they were the first time. Another mistake is to toast bread. Allow it to become cold, and then toast it again until the surface becomes almost black. The safer rule is easy to remember. Aim for golden yellow, not dark brown. Reheat cooked potatoes gently in the microwave or in a covered pan. If using an oven or air fryer, use only enough time to warm them and create a light texture. Do not deep fry them again. Toast bread to a light or medium brown rather than repeatedly toasting it. Remove blackened areas instead of convincing yourself that burned means extra crispy. Boiling, steaming, and microwaving whole potatoes generally produce much less than frying or roasting because they involve more moisture and less surface browning. The microwave is not the enemy. Excessive browning is the issue. The safe reheating method most people ignore now that you know the 4 foods. We need to discuss a danger that may be more immediate than long-term cancer. Risk: bacteria. Food can look completely normal while harmful microorganisms are multiplying inside it. The most important decision is often made before the food ever reaches the microwave. Perishable leftovers should be refrigerated promptly rather than remaining on the counter for several hours. A refrigerator slows bacterial growth, but it does not reverse contamination that has already occurred. And reheating cannot always rescue food that was stored incorrectly. Certain bacteria can produce heat-stable toxins that may remain even after the food becomes hot. Use shallow containers so large portions cool more quickly. Keep the refrigerator at approximately 40 degrees Fahrenheit or 4 degrees Celsius or colder. Most cooked leftovers should generally be consumed within 3 to 4 days or frozen for longer storage. When reheating, heat the food evenly until it reaches 165 degrees Fahrenheit or approximately 74 degrees Celsius. Covering the food helps retain moisture and distribute heat. Stir soups, sauces, rice dishes, and casseroles during reheating so that cold pockets do not remain in the center. Reheat only the portion you plan to eat, instead of repeatedly warming and cooling the entire container. And remember this important distinction. Food must become hot enough to control harmful bacteria, but it does not need to become burned, blackened, dried out, or surrounded by smoke. Safe temperature and extreme temperature are not the same thing. Use enough heat to make the food safe. Do not use so much heat that you dramatically alter the food again. And never rely only on smell to determine whether a leftover is safe. Some dangerous bacteria and toxins do not produce an obvious odor. When you are uncertain about how long a food remained outside the refrigerator, the safest decision may be to discard it. A leftover meal is never worth a serious case of food poisoning. Protect yourselves without fearing every leftover. Let us bring everything together. The first food category was deep-fried food reheated in old, repeatedly used oil. Repeated heat can oxidize the oil and create reactive breakdown products. The second was processed meat, including bacon, sausage, ham, and hot dogs. These foods are already associated with colorectal cancer risk, and burning them may add additional heat-generated compounds. The third was grilled or charred meat. Reheating it over intense flames may create another round of HCAs, PAHs, smoke, and blackened surfaces. And the fourth was potatoes, bread, and starchy foods reheated until very dark. Excessive browning can increase the formation of but the central message is not that all reheated food causes cancer. It does not. The central message is that cooking method matters. Storage matters. Temperature matters. Frequency matters. And the dietary pattern you follow for years matters more than one occasional leftover. Warm food gently. Avoid repeatedly heating oil. Reduce processed meats. Remove charred portions. Choose golden instead of burned. Refrigerate leftovers promptly and heat them thoroughly without scorching them. Your body has powerful defense systems that repair DNA, control inflammation, support immunity, and remove damaged cells. But those defense systems need your help. Every meal is an opportunity either to create more stress inside the body or to provide the nutrients it needs to protect itself. Now, I want to hear from you. Which of these 4 foods do you reheat most often? Fried food, processed meat, grilled meat, or potatoes? Write your answer in the comments and tell us how you normally reheat it. If this information helped you, press the like button, subscribe to Healthy Fruits, and activate notifications so you do not miss our next Doctor-style nutrition video. Share this video with someone who frequently eats leftovers. One simple change in the kitchen could protect their health for many years. Remember, do not fear your food. Understand it. Prepare it wisely. And let every meal become another step toward a stronger, healthier, and longer life.